I'm Tony Bryant, husband of Tracy Marie Bryant. We were married 14 years, together 16. Shared a wonderful life together. She loved to talk. She loved to cook. She loved to fellowship with people. She loved people. She was diagnosed 14 years ago, 13 years ago. They caught it real early, and they were able to insert a balloon, and she was able to do her treatments through that. And that cut down her treatments tremendously. After she survived that, so she was breast cancer free for about 12 years. She started having problems in her side, and it wouldn't go away. It kept persisting, getting a little worse. So eventually we went to the doctor and had it checked out, and come to find out she had pancreatic cancer. She started going through treatment again, and during the whole time, we just knew she was going to get better with it. We were praying that the treatment she was going through would help maintain the size of it or shrink it. Pain started coming back and getting worse, and then getting harder and harder. And so her last visit to the hospital, they did some more x-rays and stuff, and found out the treatments she was going through really wasn't helping any. It wasn't maintaining the size of the growth. And so at that point, they decided to let her go ahead and come home. And during her transition time, she was able to come home, and she was able to be at home with us when she passed. So that was, I'm just glad she was able to come home and be around myself, and my sister was with me when all that happened. So, and I'm a truly miss her. She was love of my life. She was love of my life.
I was diagnosed almost 5 years ago. Came out of nowhere. I was diagnosed with lobular cancer. Had my mammogram 7 months prior, and thought I had a rupture, and it wasn't. So, long story short, I had a double mastectomy. Treatment, had a lot of radiation. I tried reconstruction. That failed, and here I am almost 5 years later, 6 surgeries later, and...
What was the hardest part of going through cancer?
The unknown, just the fear, the unknown, really.
I was only 37, and so when they told me I actually had cancer, it was flooring. And I had a very busy, full life that I just loved. I was teaching junior high, plus helping my husband run the business. My kids were still at home. And it was devastating. I mean, my first year that it came back, I said I couldn't find joy.
They pretty much told me on the spot that it was most likely cancer. So within a week, we found out that it was stage 4. So it had metastasized to my liver and my bones. I had extensive chemo, and I will always be on treatment for life. Just to go from feeling at your healthiest and your strongest to knowing that your body is full of cancer is just a very surreal feeling, and it didn't seem possible. I just kept thinking, surely she's wrong, but she wasn't.
And when my mom was diagnosed, I kind of just lost it. I couldn't even believe it, because I thought, my mom can't go through this. But my mom is the strongest person I know. I get more emotional when it comes back at my friends. I've got several of my good friends that it has just come back in, and I lost a very good friend. Amity Ritz. No, they're not.
Amity was fire. She was everything that is good about humanity. That was Amity. And I find it really hard even now to even speak of her in the past tense, because she left a mark on so many people.
She had a smile that would light up a room, a personality, beauty. Got into law school and was in her first semester. Right before Christmas, she mentioned to her mom that she had an issue. I said, I want to check you, we're going to the office. And she was quite adamant that that wasn't necessary, and I said, oh yes.
On New Year's Eve, I called her to tell her Happy New Year, and she said, Bruce, I've got to tell you something. And she said, I just found out that I have stage 4 metastatic breast cancer.
So they had it biopsied within just a few days and found out that it was breast cancer, and then it turned out to be metastatic to the bone.
But typical Amity goes, but I'm okay, I'm fine, we have a plan, it's not a big deal. That is how she lived her life for 5 years after that.
The rest of it was a journey. She persevered with her strong faith. Basically, we just decided that we were going to fight it as long as we could.
She was actually had an appointment to go to see her doctor that day about her scan. Heidi had messaged me that night and she said, we got some really bad news today. It's basically spread in her brain and there's not much that they can do, and the doctors have said that chemo, and they don't think treatments are an option anymore. Christy texted me and said she's here surrounded by her family and she's gone. And I just sent Amity one last text that said, I love you, I love you, I love you. And just because she's gone doesn't mean that I'll ever stop thinking about her. I always say that the only good in goodbye is the hello again. I'm gonna live my life so I can make sure that I get to do that again, to where I can say hi to her again.
So I always told her that I've always loved you and I will always love you. And she'd always ribbed me about that. Yeah, I know.
She was my leader in my cancer group. And that happened the end of November, and that rocked my world when Amity died. And my mom was diagnosed 2 weeks after that. So when I said I cried for 2 weeks, that literally broke my heart. It's just hard. Sometimes I just don't understand. You know, it's just so hard to wrap your head around. You just have to take it a day at a time.
When the doctor names the pain you feel and the air around you changes.
It's a big community, and I can't imagine not having the women, not having that group of women around me, because it's so important to have those friendships and to be able to talk to them.
It's nice to have a group of people that you can rely on and that have been there through the experience, and you can lean on and tell stories and just have a network and somebody to support you.
Race for the Cure has always been one of our favorites, and I did that race for 15 years.
At the last walk they did, a bunch of them ordered little tutus, ballerina tutus to wear for the walk.
One of my favorite moments with Komen, the 1 year I came in 9th place. And I had never ran. It just meant so much to me. I got this cheesy little ribbon, And my whole my family, of course, was in the stands when they announced, and they were like, "You would have thought you got first place." And I'm like, to me, I got first place.
I can remember my first race, the lady had a sign that said, "I'm a 50-year survivor." I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna live. And Komen, I mean, I can't remember to date how many 900 and something million dollars they've given. Think about that. That's unbelievable. You know, the clinical trial, I mean, it's unbelievable what they've done. And women wouldn't be living if it wasn't for that.
It felt nice to have people that knew, that were supporting, that were fighting for you, that were fighting for research.
I participated in the races long before Soul for Survivors, but these things came out because you all brought the experts in. That was a breakthrough moment for us.
You know, they're raising dollars so that other women my age aren't going to go through this one day, hopefully.
There's something that everybody could do, and it does take that whole tribe. And I'm so appreciative of Komen for being there for my family over the years.
And just remember that you control your own attitude each day. Cancer doesn't.
Talk about strong women, but when you see that sea of pink out there, that's why women are surviving.
I will rise up. I will
There they go.
fall. I will stand up. I will not fall. I will stay strong. I'm never giving up.
My oncologist was skipping into the room to tell me that I was Ned. And still gives me chills.
Tracy was one of a kind. I'm still not over the fact that she's not going to be with us. But I know that she's a person of faith. I'm confident that I will see her again.
Rise